So in this video, I wanted to maybe try to deploy the StarCraft 2 build order application to a production environment, right? Just deploy it somewhere so that people can play around with it. Hopefully they don't upload obscene builds, just so that I can get real user feedback and people can tell me how garbage this app is. I plan to use, I think I might use Railway. I'll go to railwayapp.com. They're not sponsoring this video or anything. They give you like some free credits that you can use to deploy your app. And they also give you free credits for a database. You can use Vercel, you can use whatever you want. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So let's just go ahead and log in. Okay. I think I was using this for like a game before. Let's just go ahead and clean this up. I'm gonna delete this project. All right, so let's do new project. And I'm gonna go ahead and say deploy from a GitHub repo. And we're gonna configure it so that we can access the repo that we are working on. So let's just go ahead and say, oh, I gotta log into my mobile real quick, hold on. All right, I like to make it like, give it only select permissions to things. So I'm gonna go ahead and say like the StarCraft 2 build order project, go ahead and click save. And now Railway has access to deploy that StarCraft 2 build order app. There might be some things I need to do before we can actually get this thing deployed. I do believe, actually it might just work. I don't know. Let's just do deploy now. And I think it'll inspect your project and try to see what type of project you're using. I think it'll see that we're using Next and it'll kind of deploy this all out for us. And usually when you're getting your first deployment to an environment, there's a lot of things you have to fix and things that you have to set up. First thing we probably got to set up is a database URL, because when this is actually deployed, it needs to point to a real database. So let's go to settings. First of all, let's just do a generate domain. So we actually have a real place that we can actually like view this thing. Okay, so we got domain there. And I'm assuming this is not going to work. Yeah, it just failed because there's probably stuff that we have to set up. But if we go back to the workspace, I don't know how to do this. I think this is the app. If I click new, I think I can say a new database. I want to add a new Postgres database, because that's what we're using with that Docker Compose locally. And that'll create a new database for us. All right, so let's just click on this and let's just go ahead and look at how we connect to it. I think there's a connect tab and it gives you a password and a username that you could potentially use. So I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna go ahead and paste it right here inside of, actually I'm gonna paste it inside of the project over here. So I'll go to settings, there's a way to find variables. Oh, it's right here, variables. Looks like it has a lot of stuff already, but I mean, what we're gonna have to do is add a new one called like database URL. So you have to have these things set up to match whatever your .env file is like expecting. My app is expecting this to be defined. So I'm gonna paste this in, but I'm gonna go ahead and just cut this part of the video out so you guys don't get my passwords. And there's probably some other things we have to set up. Let's go to the app and see why it failed. Because when it deploys, it'll tell you what's going on. Invalid environment variables. So I need next auth secret, next auth URL, Discord client ID, and Discord secret. So we're not even using Discord. So like some of these things we shouldn't even need, right? So let's just find out where this stuff is defined and delete it. Get rid of the Discord provider because we don't even use that. All right, good enough. And then do we need next auth URL? Because we're not even really using next auth at this point. And it's funny, this template is baked in to like think that we're using Vercel for next. So it's a very biased T3 stack setup. But what I could potentially do is I'm going to go to variables here. Actually, let's go to the settings. Let's find out what the domain is. I think this is the domain. So I'm going to copy that domain, go to variables, new variable, and we're going to paste that domain. And I'll say next auth URL is here. I don't know if I need to say like /auth or something, but I'll just add that one. I think it's fine. Next auth secret. This is something that you just need to set to some random value. Password generator 24 characters, something. It just needs to be something that's kind of secured. Let's just go find a generator. Let's just go ahead and do it. I don't really know what a secure password length is. I think anything longer than like 16 is supposed to be pretty good. So if I just copy that password, I'll cut this part too and paste it and click add. Okay, so what else do we need to get this thing deployed? Next auth URL, invalid URL. Discord client ID. It's still complaining about this. It's complaining because I didn't commit. So let me just go ahead and say like, removing Discord stuff for now. So go ahead and commit that, sync it up. What else is going on here? Invalid environment variables, next auth URL, invalid URL. So we have to figure out what does this thing actually need. Vercel URL does not include HTTPS, so it cannot be validated as URL. So I think to make this valid, we have to go and add HTTPS in front of this stuff. So let's go back to settings or variables or whatever. I'll click this one. I'm going to add, oh no. Go back and, can I edit this? Edit it, HTTPS, go and save that. That should redeploy. So at this point, we're just like watching the build. Make sure everything seems like it's good. Hopefully it's good. I believe the way Railway works is it generates like a Docker image that contains your next app, and they deploy your image to a container somewhere. They run your app, and then they point to it with the load balancer or something. I don't really know how it works. Honestly, it's just a free way to deploy something for like 20 days out of the month. So, now I think one thing that you might need to do is you need to have this run migration scripts over your production database when you merge stuff to main. So after this is done, I'm going to go ahead and just like see if the URL works. And then we might go down that path of like, how do you run the migration script against our new database that has absolutely no tables or anything. All right, I think it's done. It says active. It might take a second to spin up. All right, here we go. So the app is fully deployed, and if we try to submit a build, I'm pretty sure this will fail, which is expected because like there is no table in the database, right? So if you go and try to do that, I do believe the backend fails because there is nothing in the database for build orders. So what we want to do is we want to make this automated so that whenever we have a migration script, it just automatically runs against our prod database. Now, I don't think I've done this before in Railway. So whenever I encounter something I've never done before, I usually Google it. So I'll say like Railway, deploy, prisma, migrate. And let's see if they put anything here for Railway. I mean, honestly, I think I know how to do it. Like if there's a way to customize what the build command is, we could basically do that. So let's go to settings and let's see. There's a way to customize what happens. Yarn run build. So let's go to build. It's going to be running this command. So technically we could either add a new command called like migrate in build, or we might be able to say like yarn migrate in yarn build. I don't really know. Might want to go to the docs just to verify. Let's see. I might just do this. I might just say migrate and build. I don't know if this is the best approach, but whatever. So I'll say prisma migrate deploy. And I think I just say yarn build. I'm trying to think if this will work. I think it should work. So anytime I merge to main, it should kind of run this command. I'll just go ahead and say yarn run migrate and build. And I believe this is just a shell command, so technically I could have done both. And I'm sorry, I'm changing my mind. Let me just try this real quick. They run migrate and npm or yarn run build. Let's try it out. I'll click save and it'll schedule a redeploy. Let's see what happens. And hopefully the deployment runs with the same environment variables that I have set to the machine, so it actually has access to this Postgres database. And obviously migrate, I just added that, so I have to go and commit this. So I'll say adding migrate command. So we're kind of getting into like the realm of DevOps or system administration or something. I don't know, but this is some of the stuff you have to end up doing and configuring when you try to deploy your applications and keep them running. So first of all, let's look through here. And I want to make sure that it actually tries to run the migrate task. Docker build failed. So let's figure out why that failed. Yarn run migrate and yarn build. It doesn't really tell you. Let's see. Yarn command not found. So the runner must not have yarn. I'm not sure why I wouldn't have a yarn. It says the default was yarn build. I might copy this. Executor. Run npm audit. Yarn command not found. So it's kind of strange that if you go to the settings here, where the build was, it says yarn run build as an example. But I'm thinking in their system, they don't have that. npm run build. Let's try doing that and see what happens. We will redeploy when it's done. Redeploying now. This is building. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it looks like it made some progress. It's applying the migration scripts. It ran them. There's a warning here. I should probably get this Discord provider cleaned up. Always good to get rid of your lint errors. I'll just comment this out for now. That's fine. Okay, it says done. Let's check out the Postgres database. And now we have a bunch of tables. And the one that's important is build order. This other stuff is kind of built into next auth, I believe. So we're not going to worry about that stuff yet. But we have a build order table. So when this is done deploying, can't click on this right now. Don't know why I can't click. All right, it's publishing some images. Now I think regardless, we could still potentially use this app now because the database is set up. So let's just try clicking submit here. And then let's go to find a build. And I think ZVT is the default. There we go. So we have successfully deployed using Railway. We set up a database. We deployed our application by pointing it to our GitHub repo. And anytime we merge something to main, it'll automatically run our migration scripts. And then it'll also build the app and get a container deployed and running. So that's pretty cool. So I'll put this link in the actual description. This link might change at some point. I guess it'll say the same. I don't know. But you guys can go here. You can actually add build orders. You can play around with it. So this is a live running service, and it really doesn't take too long to get going. I know it took me longer because I haven't used Railway in a while, but usually it's pretty straightforward. So let's just close out of that. I think we're good to go there. And what else do we need to do? So someone mentioned that like maybe the filtering should be on the left, kind of like an Amazon shopping cart where you have like the filters on the left and the actual products on the right. I might actually try doing that. So let's go to matchups, go to this, and let's see if we can kind of refactor the page a little bit. Here we have the form and the H1. So I think the form we could potentially put on the left. So I'm just going to go ahead and like divide this with the div. Don't know if there's a better semantic HTML tag we should use. I'll do this. I'm going to add a class name. And I'm going to say grid calls to. And I wonder if there's a way to like tell the children of the grid how many columns to take up. I don't know if there is. Maybe I have to use like a width of 1/3 or something. So I'm not sure if maybe flex would be better. Let's try that. Flex. Yeah, that's probably a better approach. I'll say gap of 4, and then I'll say flex of 1/4. And the build section could be width of full. Okay, so these don't look that great. Maybe there's a way to get them onto separate lines or something. I'll go back to Flowbyte to see if there's a better component for that. Let's go ahead and create a couple more builds. Just for like macro, just go ahead and do some stuff here. I'm in a new build. Do it again. I just want to kind of get like 3 cards displayed. So I'll go to find a build, ZVT, macro, got 3 cards. Okay, so this I think will be better. This is a better approach. And then for matching builds, I don't know if that should be called something else. I think the gap needs to be wider. Like this looks really, white space is good. If you can put white space, kind of ease your user's eyes, I think it's a good approach. And that's, I mean, that's good enough. I still don't like this. This is kind of very janky. So let's go back to Flowbyte and let's see if they have some type of better component for radios. Or like a list or something. So I think I use these, but I might want to use something like this on radio. Just keep scrolling through. Is there anything cool that we could potentially use? Oh, this looks pretty good. And it might be as simple as just like changing the flex box of something. Maybe, I don't know. Let's go back to the section that's doing those displays here. And let's look at what this is doing here. So item centered rounded, LIs, W full border. I do kind of wonder why they're all on the same line though. Like what CSS class? I know I can go to Flowbyte and just literally copy the thing over and that'll like fix it. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. What am I doing here? I need to go to localhost. That's the deployed app. Don't want that. Go to find a build. DVT. This thing I need to put all in one column. And you know, instead of fussing about it, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this code real quick. And I mean, it probably should have been easy for me to figure it out, but honestly, I'm a noob. So I'm not going to waste too much time. Like, I'm sure if you got rid of like some of these flex. Well, I guess you need flex here, but for this, you probably need like a display a block or something. Is that how you do it? Li display a block. I want to figure this out myself, but like, let's be honest, I probably won't figure it out. I think it's just block. Why is that not getting put on a different line? You have LIs. Those should be block elements with a full. The container must be doing something to it. Rounded border. All flex. Oh, there we go. I knew I can do it myself. I have to believe in myself. So let's go back. What did I delete off? I don't need block here, I don't think. There. So this looks better. I didn't have to go and I was about to just copy this stuff, but I think the flex was causing it to be all messed up. And then I can type in like the author here if I want to and stuff. Well, I think this page looks better. Like a better approach for like shopping for the build that you want. And we could potentially add more stuff here. Someone mentioned that we should add the ability to sort builds. maybe the ability to do some other stuff. I did add some to-dos here. Someone said that I should add an all button. So maybe we'll do that real quick, where one of the list items would need to be all. I'll just go ahead and copy this out of that. Actually, do we need to do that? I think we can go to build types. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say all ... build types. Now when I click all, what we need to do is go to our filter and basically check if it's all, then we return true for the filter. Lowercase search, no, not this one, here. So I'll say if the selected build type, if it's equal to all, then true, otherwise fall back on the actual filtering. So now we can do all and we get everything that comes back and we can search through builds, do whatever we want. So a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer. Now, some closing thoughts, because I think I'm gonna wrap this video up, is I don't like this page. I don't like this approach anymore in terms of UX. Like there's 2 button clicks just to get to your matchup. I think it'd be better if there was 1. And then I also have to consider maybe it'd be better if the matchup is just a drop down. I know that's how we do it on this other site that I'm kind of like, I don't want to say emulating, but yeah, I don't know if a drop down's good, or I could have like matchup toggles where you can like select matchups here. I guess the less clicks, the better. And I don't know if having the matchups be like 1 click, followed by another click, followed by some more stuff, just seems like a lot of extra steps just to get to what you want to do, which is find builds. So I might redesign this page and at least condense it down to 1 and figure out a cool design for that. Or I might just combine it to here. I don't know yet. But if you guys enjoyed watching me get this deployed and fix do a little refactoring on the filters page, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, bell icon, do what you need to do. Join my Discord if you want to talk to me directly or just ask questions to get help from other developers. We got a lot of people in my Discord who are willing to help you out if they have time. So yeah, stay tuned for the next video. Have a good day. Happy coding.